All right, so after weeks of rumors and speculation, the Chase Sapphire Reserve just got a massive update that includes an annual fee increase and a bunch of new credits and benefits, as well as some popular old features that are now getting discontinued. Now, honestly, I think most people are going to be really disappointed with all these changes, but some people might actually find the new Chase Sapphire Reserve card to be more valuable now, depending on your overall lifestyle and your spending habits. So in this video, I want to go over the details of what's going on here and give you guys my honest thoughts about everything, because I've got this card myself and this is going to be a pretty big deal. So let's go ahead and jump over to Chase's website. All right, so over here on Chase's website, I want you guys to take note of a couple of things. So it says meet the new Chase Sapphire Reserve card coming June 23rd, 2025. And today is June 17th, 2025. So we'll get to what those dates mean in just a minute. And then at the top, it says if you're an existing card member or you apply for your card prior to June 23rd, 2025, your benefits will be updated. And there's a learn more button right there. So we'll click on that in just a few minutes, because that's going to be really important if you're an existing card member like myself, or if you're thinking of getting this card before these changes go into effect, because again, you have a few days before June 23rd hits from the date this video is going up on June 17th. Now, as we go ahead and look around on this website for the different features and benefits on this new Sapphire Reserve card, we got to talk about the annual fee increase, because it's going from $550 per year to $795 per year, which obviously represents a greater upfront investment and kind of a devaluation from that standpoint. But one thing to mention here is that when there are these annual fee increases, typically credit card issuers will add more credits and more benefits to offset that and kind of justify that increase to kind of hopefully retain customers a little bit and maybe even attract new customers. So it all depends on how you value these credits and benefits that you get throughout the year. And the way that I look at it is that you're paying this annual fee and sort of prepaying for these credits and these benefits that you get throughout the year. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we get here with the new Sapphire Reserve card, starting with the travel section. Now, here in the travel section, Chase decided to showcase 4 main features, and some of these are going to be existing features that are getting updated, some of them are new features, and some are existing features that are kind of unchanged. So going through them, we have 8x points on Chase Travel for flights, hotels, rental cars, cruises, activities, and tours. And that's going to be the updated version of what we previously saw on the old Sapphire Reserve card. So on the old card, we were able to get 5x points on flights booked through Chase Travel, and then 10x points on hotel stays and car rentals booked through Chase Travel. So now that is just going to become 8x points across the board for a little bit more consistency, but you're also going to be able to earn those 8x points on cruises, activities, and tours. So that is worth taking a look at when it comes to travel in the future, and I'll definitely see what that looks like on my Sapphire Reserve card. I don't typically book too much through travel portals, but we are seeing more of a push from issuers to try to help people book through them directly and offer higher multipliers because of that. It's always worth noting, though, that you have to compare the prices inside these portals, because if it's cheaper to book elsewhere or through the hotel or airline directly, then maybe that is going to be a better deal for you as opposed to earning 8x points. And that leads me to the next category here, which is 4x points when booking directly with an airline or hotel. So previously, this was going to actually be the 3x points multiplier on all travel. So that is going away now. It's no longer 3x points on all travel. Instead, it's 4x points when booking directly with an airline or hotel. A lot of people are going to be sad to see this one go, because that 3x on all travel was a very broad category. It applied not just to hotels and airlines, but also to cruises, taxis, parking, tolls, ferries, trains, all this other stuff was earning 3x points. So this is going to be a powerhouse all-around travel card for a lot of people. And now this is just focused on hotels and airlines directly when you're booking outside of Chase Travel. So worth noting that right here. And then, yeah, like I said, a lot of people are going to be disappointed in that. Me personally, not so much so. I actually was mostly just using this card to book, flights and hotel stays outside of Chase Travel occasionally. So I'm actually happy to see that go up to 4x points. But for other people, a bad change and definitely a devaluation here. Then we have up to $500 annually for prepaid bookings made with The Edit, which is their handpicked collection of hotels and resorts. And this is going to be split up into 2 semi-annual credits, so $250 that you can use from January 1st until June 30th, and then another $250 credit from July 1st until December 31st every year. So that's up to $500 back per year. The Edit is going to be a collection of kind of like luxury, more higher end types of hotels and resorts. And we'll get to that in just a second here, because there is another section where they talk more about that. And then you're going to have also the existing $300 annual travel credit on the Sapphire Reserve, which is remaining. It's left over from the old version of the Sapphire Reserve. I'm really glad they decided to keep this around, because this is going to be, again, a travel credit that's super easy to use. It's essentially almost like a cash equivalent credit. I use it up almost within the first month or two of every year that I have the Sapphire Reserve. So definitely happy to see that remain here, because that's an easy $300 you get back to help offset that $795 annual fee. And then when you factor in the edit credit here, that's potentially $800 back already. Not everyone is going to use that edit credit. Me personally, I'm hoping maybe I use it once per year. Maybe I get $250 back for some hotel stay. There are some things you have to be aware of about that though. So let's go ahead and scroll down to where they talk a little bit more about the edit. All right, so here they're talking about the edit. Stay with the Edit by Chase Travel, our handpicked collection of unforgettable hotels and resorts with complimentary benefits like a $100 property credit, daily breakfast for two, a room upgrade if available, and more. And then some more information right there. It says get up to $250 in statement credits from January through June, like I said, and then again from July through December, for a maximum of $500 annually for prepaid bookings made with the edit. 2-night minimum. That's important to note here. You do have to stay a minimum of 2 nights to activate this credit. Purchases that qualify will not earn points. So something about that is that these hotels in this edit collection are going to be a bit pricier, a little bit more on the luxury side of things. So $250 for that first 6 months, and then $250 for the second 6 months of the year. That's not going to cover an entire stay. It's not going to cover your entire 2-night stay. And you might end up paying a few $100s or even over $1,000 out of pocket, but you do get a credit back. So it's going to be more targeted towards those higher end hotel spenders and not the average consumer. Worth noting that here, because this is going to be similar to sort of the Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts collection or some other collections that issuers have where you get these different benefits, property credits, daily breakfast, and room upgrades. So not a bad thing to use. I'll probably use it once per year. I'm not going to value it at the full $500 amount just because I typically stay at more budget properties, but every now and then it does work out that one of these properties inside a collection like this will work, and then I'll go ahead and use this credit and get that value back. But yeah, an interesting kind of credit they have here, and Chase is definitely trying to push this own native hotel collection that they have. Now, the next section I want to go over here is going to be the dining section. And here you see 2 main features that they're showcasing: 3x points on dining at restaurants worldwide, including eligible delivery. This is an existing feature and benefit here on the Sapphire Reserve card. So this has been around for a while, but you can also earn 3x points on pretty much all other Chase cards in the same product family. So 3x points on dining you can earn with the Sapphire Preferred. You can earn that as well with the Freedom Flex and with the Freedom Unlimited. So nothing really new or special here, but if this is sort of your one premium card to hold in your wallet, I guess it is kind of good that you could still use it at restaurants, and people probably prefer to pay with a metal credit card anyway. And apparently this is a nice new redesign of the Sapphire Reserve, so I'm sure this is going to be people's go-to option when paying at restaurants just because it looks cool. There's also up to $300 annually in statement credits when you dine with Sapphire Reserve exclusive tables. And when you scroll down here, it says this $300 annual credit is going to be valued at $150, again, semi-annually. So $150 from January through June, and then again, $150 from July through December, for a maximum of $300 back for dining at restaurants that are part of the Sapphire Reserve exclusive tables program. Right now, they've got a whole list of programs that varies from city to city, but they do have a very good list here. And honestly, I've been to a few of these in different cities. I'm in the Philadelphia area, and there's a lot of great restaurants that I recognize already. So that's pretty cool to see here. And $150 will cover you a pretty good amount at these restaurants. So I'm going to value this at the full $300 myself. I like to go out to dinner with my wife, and we like to do different date nights, and I'm sure we're going to use this pretty consistently. And I do like the fact that they decided to make this a semi-annual credit versus a monthly credit. That kind of seems to be a focus here with Chase, is they are breaking up some of these credits to be more annually or semi-annually. So it's a lot easier to use, and it doesn't feel like as restrictive as maybe the Amex Platinum does. Obviously, this is still trending towards being more of a coupon book already with that edit credit and with the travel credit they have that's existing, and now this $300 dining credit, but at least they give you longer time periods to redeem these credits compared to other cards out there, like I said, like the Platinum card. Quick note here before we jump to the next section, but the Platinum card, Amex did just announce like a day or two ago that they're going to be updating that card as well. So they decided to kind of steal a show with Chase a little bit and just say, hey, don't forget about us. We have all this other stuff that's going to be coming. So it's kind of like an arms race right now with all these premium credit cards out there on the market. So we'll see what Amex does with the Platinum card. But for now, I like the way that Chase is structuring these credits better than the Platinum card, and we'll see how Amex responds. Now, moving on to the lifestyle section here. So like I've been saying, this has always been a travel credit card in the past, but now Chase is making this more of a lifestyle card as well. And that's very clear with a lot of these different benefits and credits that they're talking about on this new website. So here you can see there's a bunch of different credits. This first one is going to be essentially just a complimentary subscription to Apple TV Plus and Apple Music that you just get by logging into your account and then kind of linking your Apple ID. And then this is just a complimentary membership to those two platforms, which is valued at $250 annually. So if you're somebody that already pays for these things, then that is going to be essentially pure value that just comes back into your pocket to help offset that $795 annual fee. But even if you don't use these things already, it's still worth it to at least go ahead and take advantage of this. Maybe you don't value this personally because you weren't paying for these subscriptions already, but it's still worth it to go ahead and take advantage of those subscriptions while you can. We also have up to $420 in total value with DoorDash, and that is going to be up to $300 annually in monthly DoorDash promos where you can get up to $25 each month to spend on DoorDash. And I kind of break it down in different ways where you can save on restaurant orders or different promos with saving on groceries and retail orders and stuff like that. There's also a complimentary DoorDash Dash Pass membership, which is something that's been around and a benefit on the previous version of the Sapphire Reserve, but that's worth $120 annually. Personally, I don't use DoorDash at all, so I don't value these at all, but a lot of other people really do value this very highly. And if you do, up to $420 back in value is a big chunk of change to help offset that $795 annual fee as well. So again, it's all coming down to your personal lifestyle preferences and your spending habits because not everyone is going to value these things equally. There's also going to be $120 back per year for Lyft in terms of Lyft credits, which is $10 of monthly credits that are available in app. So I just used Lyft when I was out in California a couple days ago. And so I will use these every now and then. I'm probably not going to value it at the full $120, but it is nice to have that as well. And again, gives you a little bit of extra value if you are somebody who uses Lyft ride shares. Also new now is going to be Peloton, up to $120 in annual credits, split up into $10 per month for that. And then there's also different benefits on, buying eligible Peloton hardware things. There's 10x points back on that. And some things that you can read into here for Peloton benefits. StubHub, there's also going to be up to $300 in annual credits for StubHub and Viagogo, I don't know how to say that. How it works, get up to $150 in statement credits, again from January through June, and then again $150 from July through December for up to $300 back for that. So that's not something I'm going to value right away, but I do every now and then buy tickets to sports games and concerts or comedy shows and things like that. So honestly, I probably will end up using this and it will give me some value. I don't know if it's worth $300 in total at that full face value amount, but honestly, this is kind of a nice added value benefit considering that I already am getting value from a lot of the other credits. But again, it is now becoming more of a coupon book here, but hopefully you can see some of these are monthly credits. Some of the smaller ones like Lyft and Peloton and DoorDash, those are monthly credits. But then a lot of other things with the StubHub and the Apple Music and Apple TV stuff, that's all kind of spread out on a lot longer of a timeline to be able to use those credits and get value from those things. So interesting with the way that Chase is kind of marketing this now as a lifestyle type of card in addition to a travel card. Now, Chase is also announcing a few other additional benefits if you spend $75,000 in a calendar year on the Sapphire Reserve card. So that's going to include IHG1 Rewards Diamond Elite status, a $500 Southwest Airlines credit, A-list status with Southwest Airlines, and $250 as a credit towards shops at Chase. So honestly, in my opinion, it is kind of silly to have to spend that much on a personal credit card in a single year. I'm sure some people will do it, but I also don't think that a lot of these benefits align with somebody that spends that much. If you're spending $75,000 on one credit card in the year, I don't know how much somebody would actually value, having that status with Southwest Airlines or how much they would even fly Southwest at all, since it is more of like a budget, lower cost airline. I don't know. It's a little bit silly to me, but I guess, hey, if you're spending that much, it is worth mentioning here. Now, it's also worth noting that some existing features related to travel are still going to be here as well. So we have a credit for up to $120 for Global Entry TSA PreCheck or Nexus. every 4 years that you get with the Sapphire Reserve card, so that is going to be unchanged. There's also a lot of really great travel protections here: trip cancellation and interruption insurance. We have auto rental coverage that is primary. We have trip delay reimbursement, baggage delay insurance, a lot of great travel protections that people very much value having the Sapphire Reserve for. So that's something that's an underrated thing that people might want to place some value on when, figuring out what this card is worth compared to the annual fee that it charges. It's obviously very easy to look at $795 and then say, okay, I'm getting $300 from the dining credit and $300 from the travel credit. But don't forget about some of these travel insurance protections as well, because they are sort of best in class here on the Sapphire Reserve, and it's an underrated feature to consider. And then before we get into the timeline of how these changes are going to go into effect for new cardholders and existing cardholders, as well as my overall thoughts and opinions here, I do want to talk about the Chase Sapphire Reserve Lounge Network, which they talk about on its website as well. Enjoy complimentary access to every Chase Sapphire Lounge by the club with up to 2 guests, plus access to 1,300 plus Priority Pass airport lounges worldwide. You also get access to select Air Canada Maple Leaf lounges with Air Canada cafes in the US, Canada, and Europe with an eligible boarding pass. So I am really happy to see and kind of relieved to see that you still do get complimentary access with up to 2 guests when you visit these Chase lounges. I was just in one in my home airport of Philadelphia a few days ago. It's such a great lounge, and every Chase lounge I've been into has been great. And obviously, with all these changes we've seen to the Amex Platinum a few years ago with limiting guest access unless you pay a fee or have an expensive authorized user on that card, or with the Capital One Venture X now that just implemented upcoming airport lounge access policies that now restricts free guest access on the Venture X card. Those are some big changes. So for the Sapphire Reserve card here to still offer access for you and up to 2 free guests, that is going to be a nice added benefit that I'm happy they did not get rid of here. Although I'm sure in the future at some point they will decide to get rid of this. I'm just predicting that. I don't know when that's going to happen, but that seems to be the way that cards are trending. So maybe Chase will prove me wrong. But if overcrowding becomes an issue at these lounges, then that is, I'm sure, something they're going to look into. Oh yeah, and then one final thing to mention here that is actually going to be kind of a devaluation for a lot of people is the fact that the 1.5 cent per point redemption rate that you would get when booking travel through Chase Travel with the Sapphire Reserve, that is now going away. And instead, it's going to be replaced by something called Points Boost, where with Points Boost offers, your points can be worth up to 2x on thousands of both top booked hotels, including the Edit, along with flights with select airlines through Chase Travel. So my understanding of the way this is going to work is that instead of now getting 1.5 cents per point for any travel you book through Chase Travel with the Sapphire Reserve card, now you're going to be able to search for travel through Chase Travel, and then for some types of flights and hotel stays, you'll get up to 2 cents per point. But it really just depends, and potentially maybe skews towards the more luxury hotels like the Edit, like they mentioned there, or maybe even skews towards certain airlines. I'm gonna have to search around and see how this actually works and what this feels like in practice, because obviously it's something new and you're not getting that predictability of that consistent flat redemption rate. So instead it's only on certain redemptions, and you always have to go ahead and run the math because again, sometimes travel can be a bit more expensive inside of a travel portal anyway. So if you're getting 2 cents per point on travel that's actually, maybe inflated a bit inside of Chase Travel, then you're not really getting 2 cents per point. It's probably a little bit less value than that if it was cheaper to book as a cash price on the hotel or airline directly. So there's a lot of different things to think about here. And to me, this is going to be the biggest devaluation with the Sapphire Reserve with these updates, along with the fact that the 3x back on all travel, that multiplier is going away. Those two features changing here are the biggest reasons that people are going to be upset with this new change to the Sapphire Reserve. However, to go along with what we just talked about with that points boost feature, there is that link at the top of the page that said if you're an existing card holder, click here to learn more. So this is going to describe what exactly happens with that specific feature and the points that you can still potentially redeem for a couple of years into the future at the 1.5 cent per point rate, along with the timelines for some of these other features and changes coming to the Sapphire Reserve if you're an existing card holder. So let's go through this. It says if you're an existing card member or applied for this card prior to June 23rd, 2025, your benefits and annual fee will remain unchanged through October 25th, 2025. As of October 26th, 2025, you'll get an additional $1,500 plus in addition annual value with your Sapphire Reserve card. After this date on your anniversary, your annual fee will adjust to $7.95, and each authorized user fee will increase to $195. I believe previously authorized users were $75 per year. Now it's $195. So what this is saying, again, because today is June 17th, is that between now and June 23rd, you essentially can become an existing cardholder and sort of lock in that annual fee and these benefits, and that will remain unchanged through October 25th of 2025. Once that date hits, then you'll see below here, after that date hits, you'll start to receive some of these new updates. So they kind of break it down with this timeline. Starting June 23rd, 2025, if you're an existing cardholder, you could start to use the points boost feature through Chase Travel to maximize the value of your rewards. So that's where you search for travel inside of Chase Travel with your Sapphire Reserve, and you're gonna start to see some of those potentially targeted 2-cent per point redemptions through Chase Travel. You can continue using your current card. You're gonna receive the new card design upon your card's expiration date. Me personally, I might call up Chase and see if I can get that card replaced with the new version sooner, because I wanna see what it looks like, obviously for the YouTube channel here. But then starting on October 26th of 2025, that's where all the new benefits are going to kick in. Your annual fee will not kick in until it actually becomes due for renewal again. So for me, I think my annual fee is in April every year. And so that's when my new $7.95 annual fee will kick in. But starting October 26th of this year, that's when I'll have access to all these new benefits, and they break it down here. So figured it's good to go through it again, just as a recap. 8x points on Chase Travel, which replaces 5x on flights and 10x on hotels and car rentals. 4x points on flights and hotels purchased direct, which replaces 3x on all travel. 3x points on dining worldwide, that's existing. 5x total points on eligible Lyft purchases, which is also an existing thing. 10x points on eligible Peloton hardware and accessory purchases. And then, now it's 1x on Chase Travel for purchases that are not eligible for points boost. Some benefits here. The $300 annual travel credit, still the most flexible travel credit available, which I agree. It's great that they don't limit you to having to use it specifically inside of Chase Travel. It applies to all travel. Up to $500 annually for prepaid bookings made with the edit. You also can get IHG Platinum Elite status for a limited time, which is nice. That's not their top tier status, but it still is something. Up to $300 annually in statement credits when you dine with the Sapphire Reserve exclusive tables. Again, that's split up into $150 from January through June, and then $150 from July through December. Complimentary Apple TV Plus and Apple Music through June 22nd, 2027, a value of $250 annually. Up to $300 in annual StubHub credits, again, split up into $150 for the first half of the year, and then $150 for the second half of the year from July through December. Up to $300 in annual DoorDash promos, plus DoorDash membership worth up to $120 annually. Those DoorDash promo credits are gonna be split up into monthly values as well. Up to $120 in annual Lyft in-app credits, split up into $10 per month. $120 in annual Peloton credits, split up into $10 per month, and then up to $120 in one-time statement credits every 4 years for Global Entry, TSA PreCheck, or Nexus. So that's an existing thing as well. Great to have as a premium credit card. Your annual fee will increase to $795 on your anniversary date, adjusted from $550, and then the authorized user fee is $195. What's interesting here, though, about this timeline is it says through October 26th of 2027. So that's a 2-year time frame from when these new benefits kick in. You still have until October 26th of 2027 for points earned prior to October 26th, 2025 of this year. You will automatically get the best offer available, whether that's the points boost, which is the new thing we talked about, or the 1.5x on Chase Travel, maximizing the value of your rewards for the next 2 years. Visit the benefits hub on chase.com, beginning on June 23rd to see how you can use your points to get the best offers on travel. So this is something that Chase actually kind of talked about, or there's a rumor about this, that they're going to ease people into these new benefits, and they probably anticipated a lot of pushback from people being upset about the 1.5 cent per point redemption rate going away when booking travel through Chase with the Sapphire Reserve. So what they're doing is that any points you have here on the Sapphire Reserve card that were earned prior to October 26th of 2025, those points are going to be eligible to use to still get that 1.5 cent per point redemption rate through Chase Travel. Or if you come across that 2 cent per point rate, then that's obviously going to be better for certain redemptions. So I do like that they're doing this here and they didn't just completely get rid of it, but this is only something that's going to be eligible here if you're an existing card member. So, if you wait until June 23rd here, and then you become a new card member under these new features. If you get this card from June 23rd onward, you're going to be eligible for all this stuff right away, and so you're not waiting. But if you're an existing card holder, then these timelines will apply to you. So that's what I'm going to be keeping track of here for myself as an existing card holder. And then beyond, it says browse points offers worth up to 2x on Chase travel. So that's the direction they're heading with this card, but at least they did leave some room here for existing card members to still get value for one of the most well-known perks for having the Sapphire Reserve card. All right, so obviously that was a lot of information we just gave you guys because there's been rumors about this card for weeks, and now we have the official confirmation. So I wanted to kind of just cover everything as best as I could here in this video, but we'll do a full detailed review in the future, and we'll compare this to the Sapphire Preferred card as well. But to end this video, what I wanted to do is give you my official thoughts and opinions here after seeing these changes. And honestly, my thoughts and opinions might be a bit unpopular, but I think they're gonna make sense and you'll see where I'm coming from here. So my own thoughts and opinions for myself and my credit card strategy is that these changes are actually going to be a good thing. Previously, the Sapphire Reserve had a $550 annual fee and a $300 travel credit. And when I did the math there, that's a $250 effective annual fee. Obviously, I'm still getting access to the airport lounges and the travel protections and things like that, which was good. But my effective annual fee was $250 after I considered that credit. Now I'm getting value from the edit credit, the restaurant credit, the travel credit that's still here, Lyft credits, Peloton credits, and all those benefits as well. And so my effective annual fee is going to be lower than $250 now. So when I do the math from the annual fee perspective, it's actually going to make more sense, even though the upfront cost is higher at $795 now on the new Sapphire Reserve. However, here, I do want to point out that I would call myself a credit card maximizer and a points optimizer. Like, I'm willing to do the work and see how these credits fit into my life, and I'll remember to use them. Plus, I will say that it is kind of nice that Chase decided to spread out these credits for the most part to be semi-annual or annual on a lot of the bigger ones. And then there's a couple smaller monthly credits as well in there. But for the most part, the timelines are a little bit more manageable here to get better value compared to a card like the Amex Platinum, where almost everything is like a monthly credit. So that's my thoughts for myself, but for the majority of people out there, I am going to say these changes are not going to be good. Not everybody is going to want to maximize things, and now the higher upfront cost is going to be harder to justify. So not everyone's going to go ahead and use those credits. Not everyone's going to value this thing the way that I do. But I do want to say that if you're considering this card, maybe wait a few days before applying if you're okay with having all these new benefits when they become effective after June 23rd, because they may launch this card with a big welcome offer. I have no idea, no inside information, but it does sound like in the press releases that Chase has been talking about, doing a big launch welcome offer that my guess would probably be somewhere in the six-figure point range. So keep an eye out for that stuff. But more importantly, let me know what you guys think, because the data points around the community here is what's most important. If you have this card, are you gonna downgrade away from it? Are you just gonna move on from Chase entirely? Let me know what you think. Are these changes a good thing or a bad thing? And if you're like me and you're getting positive value from this card, do you actually see these as a positive thing, even though that might not be the popular opinion here? Again, credit cards with this stuff, it all comes down to your own personal situation and how you view yourself. Like it's not a card that has to be perfect for everybody, and Chase knows that. They're definitely trying to make this a card that is focused on a specific person in mind. And honestly, the points optimizers and stuff, we're kind of the minority here. Like, not everybody is doing what we do here. So let me know what you think about the card down below in the comments section. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.